Is there anything like something for nothing in this life? Do you have to make an effort to achieve anything in this life? There's a cost to everything, relationships, your work. For anything you want, you need to pay something. Seems logical and even practical. And most of the time, when someone approaches you, telling you, okay, here is something for nothing, we normally have our scam radar. Oh no, that sounds really bad. That's normally the way they get you into buying something in the end. Or so there are reasons why we are so defensive against the idea that it could be something that is just there waiting for you. That heaven could be just there. And there is a part in our mind that is so damaged, confused more than damaged, that it would say, no, that's not possible. It can't be that easy. Like, I don't deserve it. I didn't do anything to deserve it. How is it possible that you can find heaven in an ordinary day? It doesn't make any sense to your mind. No, it has to come with some sort of like special, grandiose, epic surrendering or something, some sort of experience that will make everything look like very special and very, well, the problem of thinking like that is that you may not see that you're sitting in heaven already. And yes, sometimes it's difficult to see. Sometimes your emotions are locked and you feel negative emotions and you feel anger and you may feel restless and distracted and you feel, but many times you're actually just fine. And just thinking that you have to do something to get something, you have to pay a price, a cost. It will set you completely apart from actually realizing that you are actually there, because any attempt for you to do something, to get something, makes a lot of sense from the point of our view of our mind. But what we're discussing in here is to realize what you are. So it's not something you have to do. It's not something that could ever come from the consequence of doing an action. So it is just there. It's you. You don't have to make an effort to be you. And yet, here is the paradox. Because I'm going to be suggesting you to actually do things. And if you go to all the history of enlightened beings and teachers, you're going to find that they are actually giving you instructions. And you will say, wait, I don't understand. I'm looking for my nature. It's effortless. I am pure. I am as God created me. And yet I have to do something to realize that? Doesn't make any sense. Well, that's the paradox that you can only breach when you actually do it. Because it's going to look from your point of view, from the point of view of suffering. And by suffering, I mean a subtle level of suffering, of existential anxiety, that you're going to die, that bad things can happen to you in the future, that you need to become something or someone, that you need to have this or have that, all that anxiety. As far as you feel that, you're going to feel that you're making a sacrifice. But it's like you're telling someone in a dream that you have to give up. And in the dream, from the perspective of the dream, it looks like you're doing something. It really feels like you're doing something. So all these spiritual processes, it looks like you have to spend time and do with it. And actually, many times, pay money for it. But it's a dream. When you wake up, is when you realize that you actually didn't do anything. You didn't pay anything because it was fake money for a game. That just didn't make any sense. It just made sense as far as you believe it. So, yes, compared to many, I think, non-dual New Advaita teachers that are around saying, you don't have to meditate, you don't have to do anything. I would say, yeah, that's ultimately true. But you have to be very honest if that is your truth. Because, again, go back in history. This goes for thousands of years. And listen to what they're saying. And in many different ways, they're going to suggest you to invest your time your effort, and your priorities in life in certain way. So it's gonna look like you have to do a lot of stuff. So this simple something for nothing, that's kind of the clickbait of non-duality. So I try, although that is ultimately true, and I try to make sure that I stay that. It's a bit of a, it's confusing people to tell them you don't have to do anything. You have to do something from this, from the point of view of your ego. So yes, please do. Do whatever you feel is the most profound offering from your mind, your body, your time. Make your biggest offering to greatness, to God, to yourself, your true self, awareness. You have to show in your actions, in the way you spend your time, and in your interests, in the focus of your life. You need to show that you actually care. What is the thing that you really care? You can tell by the way someone talks, moves, and do things in their life. You can tell. You can tell from yourself, be honest, why you do things. Most of the time we think that we need to do this, we need to do that, otherwise we won't get this, that, the other. It's just a huge array of desires burn in fake need. So if you're really, really devoted to find something for nothing, effortlessly awake to your true reality, from the outside, it's going to look like you're doing a lot of stuff. Like you're meditating, you're learning from this teacher, you're making this retreat, you're reading these books, and you're, from the outside, people will say you're doing a lot of stuff to not doing. But that's just an irony. That's just a paradox. What happens is that you realize that you're doing less and less by focusing all your desires on accomplishing, on getting, or becoming, by sacrificing all desires and just bringing them back together into one last true desire of being awakened to your nature, to your reality, to the truth of yourself, to heaven. By collecting all these stray desires of a body and a person into one single, truthful, present desire of what is the most important. What is the most important for your mind and body? And you rearrange. You let your body and your mind take all the action and do everything that it has to be done for you to be aligned with that true desire. That moment where your mind is able to let go of all the distractions and all the non-important fears and conditioning of time and space. When you let your mind free from that to align with a deeper desire for finding the truth right now of what reality is. And when you allow your body to do everything that it has to do to deal with a regular life, to make what is right to do, not just for yourself, but for others too. When you align and you don't mind, because you're not in a rush. When you let your mind and your body do what it has to be done to continually be living from your honest, ultimate, collective, complete desire of God or love, of peace, contentment, heaven, whatever word you want to use. That's the only thing you really honestly desire, and the rest of things are just in the background, and you meet your responsibilities, and you are the best person that you can be to anyone and everything you meet. Only then everything aligns and you wake up. You wake up to realize that it was all a dream. You have been always there. It has been always there. But from the perspective of the dream, That means if you have the least amount of fear, anger, sadness, desperation, if you have that, you're dreaming. It's a very important thing to understand, because then from that point of view, it's going to look like you're going to have to sacrifice things that you value. But the realization is to discover that these things that you value actually don't have any value. So they are not actually a sacrifice. But you notice that in the end, when you're already awakened to the truth. While you're in the dream, I strongly suggest you the contrary. I strongly suggest you what traditional millennia of teachers have been saying. Put your life in order from the outside to the inside, from the inside to the outside. Doesn't matter. Your mind and your body align with the highest truth in every second of your life.